Speaking of theology and the Bible, let's get to this. A commentary on the Johannine Epistles 1 to 3 John. Like I said, 400, I believe it's in 32 pages, this book is. Let's just start with, why did you decide to choose the Johannine Epistles? Why not? I mean, it seems like, in my mind, you've done heavy hitters like Romans, you've done Galatians, you've done Hebrews, you've done Matthew. This seems like an odd choice. Why not choose something like First Corinthians, or something like, I don't know, something even like Mark, something like that? Why this?
As I was thinking ahead after we finished our previous study in Hebrews, well, first of all of these commentaries that the Lord has enabled me to write have been things that I was teaching on a weekly basis. And so, our Wednesday night Bible study, which anyone and everyone is able to join us online if you'd like to. It's 7 o'clock on Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock Pacific time. We're in summer break right now. But at any rate, when we finished Hebrews, I began to think, before we finished, I began to pray and think about and ask the Lord to lead me in what would be next. And I asked for some suggestions from the listeners. But as I looked out over what we would call the Torah movement, or whatever you want to call it, Hebrew roots or Messianic movement, I just began to see that there was something very similar to apparently what was going on in the first century, and to which John therefore addressed himself in these epistles. And that was what we might call, what the scholars call nascent Gnosticism. Gnosticism, to be very brief, was a movement that came about kind of growing out of the early emerging Christianity of the late first and then into the second centuries. And it was a mystical movement. It was a movement that says you have to have special knowledge, and once you get this special knowledge, then you have kind of a one-way ticket to truth. But you can't get this special knowledge just by reading a book or by talking to someone. You have to have a spiritual experience. And it's very akin to the extreme, I would call it the extreme charismatic movement that has showed up in the neo-Pentecostal movement, where if you don't have this kind of special anointing and this special experience, you really don't have the truth. The problem is that this led to all kinds of heresy, and the primary heresy was this. The Gnostics came to the conclusion that if something has physicality, if something has substance, it is inherently evil, because they taught this strange doctrine that there were two gods, one who created the universe, who was an evil god, and then the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who had no connection whatsoever with physical things. And you were trying to escape the physical world to emerge into this invisible world through mystical experience as well. Obviously, the big problem was Yeshua. Did Yeshua come in the flesh?
Right.
And the answer is, of course, yes. And so, as I begin to think, are we dealing with some of the same situations? And we are. We have people who are trying to tell us there are secret, hidden meanings in the text. You can find them if you understand the meanings of various letters. You can find them if you count certain distances between letters. You can find them if you give each letter a number and then add up the numbers, called gematria, and you'll find hidden meanings. And you have all of these hidden meanings, and you have these teachers going about making all kinds of fantastic claims that people are just bowled over with. Like, nobody ever told me this before. Well, it reminds me a lot of Gnosticism. And so, John, in his epistles, addresses this, and he starts right out by saying, the one whom our hands have handled, our eyes have seen, I'm paraphrasing actually, but if you just read the text, he says at the very beginning of First John, he says, "What was from the beginning, what we have heard, what we have seen with our eyes, what we have looked at and touched with our hands." So what is he doing there? He is combating those who are saying, no, 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 the physical world, we don't want any part of that. We're going to go into this realm of mystical kinds of understanding. And he says, no, it's all invested in a man who came, who was sent by God and became man. And this one is none other than the eternal one who has come to dwell with us.
Don't miss any clips from Messiah Matters by clicking the subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share it so other people can see it too.